Well, we are hoping that this is going to continue, and once a month would be a tremendous thing. Now, I've actually had 2 offers now of carvers from different areas that have done workshops for their group, and they wondered if we would be interested in for them to do a workshop for many.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing. I just had a call from a group that I have over this COVID worked to give comfort birds with the group that I instruct, plus the seniors. And tonight I got this call saying that some of the birds the access that I have are going to families who have had people die of COVID.
Yes.
So that has given me incentive to carve some more.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I hope that I'll contact my group and tell them that this is where they're going, and it's such a good thing.
And I think along this line, if any of the carvers in any community have a hospice close by, some connection with it, hospice is more than willing to have somebody contribute these to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and that's what I'm doing. It's called Hope House Hospice, and they do a lot of good work for the community. And I mean, I have benefited from them, with the bereavement counseling, and it's really, really great to give back.
Have any of the rest of you done something like that in the community where you reach out with your carving to support or contribute towards maybe a fundraiser or something?
Yeah. And comfort birds are easy.
Yeah.
It's something easy to do. I'm going to, before we get started, I'll run out and get one of my comfort birds. You know how I know most carvers have a little impishness about them, and you put a little bit of fun into your carving. And I've done different things with comfort birds, and one in particular is fairly funny. I'll run get it. It's not far away, and show it to you.
Sure.
Hi, Murray.
Hello, Lou. So, Ron,
Yes.
Rockford, is it?
Yes, it is.
Where are you from?
Aurora.
Okay.
I was
North of
taking
Toronto.
classes. I was taking classes with Marlene, and well, Fred was still alive at the time when I took my first class. Nice man.
Yeah, great fellow. He was a great. He was a thinker.
So yeah, so I'm new to carving. Just also recently retired, so I was looking for a new hobby. And so then my wife found this carving course in our, with our local community. And Marlene and Fred, were the teachers. And we had our last get together, last fall, and I guess they gassed our wood carving for the winter time because of COVID. And yeah, Marlene just sent me this email. I was here on Wednesday to see the character carvings, and a lot of them were just like incredibly awesome. It's just so a lot of work and a lot of effort put into it. Just they look great.
And learning from somebody else with a video method or by being able to see it again. Once we put these videos up onto the YouTube, which all of them are there now, you can stop it and back it up and listen again or look again to see what they've done. It really helps that way.
Yeah, I've only really done like a couple of pieces myself so far. Mostly I've done a couple relief and, a polar bear and, a small loon. But I'm working on a couple of wolves right now, like a relief cut. On my last class I did with Marlene, I attempted a head that actually turned out pretty good. Hey, Marlene?
It turned out very well. Now you can put your head on a body.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There you go. I think my guys and my carvers have lots of possibilities. Anyhow, I want to show you my comfort bird. As you can see,
Oh, that's beautiful.
Good.
It has a natural eye.
Just a minute,
Yeah,
Marlene, hang on. We'll put
Not
this on
for it.
speaker view. Okay, great.
Yeah, it has a natural eye there.
Yeah.
Yep,
So,
that's good.
but it didn't have one on the other side. And so, whoops, where's my camera?
That's great.
Okay.
He became a pirate.
Pretty good.
I just would burn a patch on the other side to make him a pirate. So you
See,
can do all sorts of things, you know, and they make people happy. And this is one of, whoops, this is one of the people that took our classes, and he did this one, and it kind of looks like an owl.
mm,
And I asked him if I could keep it because I thought, well, that was a little different thing to do with a comfort bird. So if you get bored with carving comfort birds, just add something to them.
that's right.
Yeah.
Now, what I've done with my comfort birds is I've reduced the size to about half the size for kids to hold.
Yes.
And what I found at different shows, some of the men that have been carving comfort birds have got these gigantic farm implements. And when they grab a hold of, it's like holding a 2x4 comfort bird. But when you look at the little kids, they can't hold it. And this smaller size, and it's actually happened sometimes when one of the fellows I carved with, he was the one who started that. He just kind of kept carving and he never stopped. He's got this problem that he can't quit. And the bird kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we had a brand new bird. So it's one of those things that you can do creatively. It's an accident, but all of a sudden it's a new idea. And so I told that story before when I was talking to some of you that the families with kids with autism now are getting the comfort birds, or the friendship bird, as Lou calls them. And they're able to hold, this really helps the kids when they want that something in their hand to rub. And so the comfort bird's been a great help that way.
Yeah. I started out by not comfort birds, but by hearts. I carved hearts
Okay.
and would give away, you know, a little heart to people to hold. And
Yeah.
I think that was mainly because my husband had a heart condition, and it was, but you do the same thing with them. They're not, you know, finish them off nicely. And with, I wax them because I find the Captain's wax has a nice feel to it when it's, you know, finished. Something nice, warm to hold. They're warm. Wood is warm. So anyhow.
At the Langpiner Village, they have about maybe 4 major happenings a year, like the harvesting and apple fest and a number of different things. And Christmas time comes along, and one of the native ladies from the reserve, not too far away from where it's on the north side of Rice Lake is where she lives.
Mhm.
She's younger than me, but she's not a young lady. And she's got this mother that is about 80 something. She came to the show and she was sitting there with her sometimes, and she couldn't stay as long. But she got a comfort bird from me and she gave it to her mom. The next year, when we came back together again at Christmas time, she said her mother has that in her pocket all the time and never quits rubbing it. The finish now is gone and the thing is changing shape.
Oh my gosh.
Those old hands just keep moving all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She says it's a wonderful thing to have, just that comfort bird in her pocket.
Yep.
very nice.
It-
Hey, Maria.
She has a new friend.
Here's one of my little wee ones,
Hold a little higher there. Yeah, great.
leopard wood.
So you specialize in making different kinds of comfort bird because the wood's different.
Yeah, I have used 83 types of wood from around the world.
Good for you.
I'm trying to get to 100.
I hope you do. You want to know one that I like is a BC cedar. It's a lovely color.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
These sit a different way. They're, you know,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice grains in it.
yeah. I like doing different woods too. I finished this year. I was doing, I had, excuse me, 3 hardwood hearts on the go that I've been working on for a long time. And this year, because of COVID, I finished them. And one was purple heart,
Yeah, I love, Yeah.
but it's not easy to work with.
no, it's the hardest one.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
hard.
I found something else that was harder. I don't know what it is. It's something that the men used for turning pens,
Oh, yeah,
and it has a tendency to look like oak, but it's not.
okay.
Really, really hard.
It almost sounds like ash.
No,
Yeah,
it's not ash because it has a line in it, like it almost looks like plywood. But you know, the lines in it, but I think it's some African wood
look
that's
like
very,
this?
very hard.
does it look like that? Could you see that with the lines
Go a little higher.
higher?
Yeah.
See the lines?
No, if we have a little bit of time, I'll go fetch it and show it to you.
Yeah, this is spalted maple.
Yeah, it'll just take me a bit.
We had a carver in our club that he laminated, I think, about 25, 30 different types of wood, very, very thin. And he carved a number of comfort birds and other things from this, and it was absolutely incredible. They were absolutely beautiful. He recently passed away, unfortunately, but some of his work was just outstanding. Peter Abbott, if you know Peter at all.
Hmm.
Yeah. You were saying about laminated wood. This is laminated wood here.
Something similar. He had multiple colors.
Yeah. And here's another one.
Now, do you do the laminating, Lou?
No, I got Exotic Wood, gets the company to do it.
And where is it located?
Exotic Wood is in Burlington, just off on Harvester Road. I can send you that link so you can put in your magazine. And if you want, I could get them to put an ad in the Abbey magazine for you.
Hmm. Okay, Marlene, go ahead and talk to us, get your voice started, and that'll show it up better.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Zebra wood. Yeah, it looks like zebra wood.
But just wait for a moment, Lou, just wait till when Marlene speaks, then she comes on full view on the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
You got to talk, Marlene.
Okay, I'm talking. It's about the hardest thing I've ever carved. It's beautiful. But I mean, whoops, the grain is fabulous.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mhm.
That almost looks like the fir tree from BC.
I know, I've carved that, but it's not that.
Fir is an absolute nightmare to carve.
It
Hard
is
as a rock.
because it's hard and soft. This one's just hard, really hard.
Well,
But
tonight as we oh, that's beautiful. Let's roll it again.
You know, one that's the prettiest is sumac.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's lovely.
So that's enough of my heart. So you guys,
Just watch the dust if you're carving sumac. It can cause you some allergic reactions.
Mhm.
yeah,
Here's sumac.
I'm pretty much, oh, lovely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the point of tonight is we're coming to towards the end of the second week. Tomorrow is our big day for the show of our carvings that were entered in the virtual carving show, and conversations about that. But tonight we talked about it listed as a 2x2x4 challenge. But before I get to all of that part of the challenge, I wanted to kind of reflect on a couple of things. First, I want to say thank you to Lou and Keith, both from the Burlington Club and the Sculptors and the Woodcarvers Club. You guys did a great job, and I've got wonderful comments back again from the things that you did. and people thinking about now how they're going to start a business, Lou, or
Good.
how they start to market it and look at it differently. And also the other part for Keith Kirkham, a number of people appreciated how thorough he was in giving his seminar and approaching it from the point of view, showing how important it is to use the right tool, as well as getting the help that you need. Like Julie Bender is a gal that can teach. And if you are interested in the biography, that you would definitely look at somebody like her as a teacher. There are other people, and maybe you learn by yourself, but every one of them give a new perspective on what they do. And Kevin Reed and Mark Sheridan both have done a tiger share of work behind the scenes, very quietly, receiving the carvings, documenting them, getting the photos right on the website and getting them up on the website. And at the same time, we've been having these kind of shows, and the shows are on just before the website, just before the show started. They finally got the last part of the website corrected. And you may have heard Mark talk about that, in that there was a difficulty with the major computer that holds everything in, and some of the programs messing up on one site, messing up the site, the other programs mounted on that same computer. But also Mike Sullivan and John Paul came along to do a great job for us, and showing last night, especially if you had a chance to see the caricature carvers and what they showed, their individual things. Like John Paul's artistic work is amazing. He is an artist, really a major part of it, and then part of the year he carves. He teaches art as well. But so you look at Mike Sullivan and John, and also Mark Sheridan, as far as caricature is concerned, they're all different, and I'm different than they are. And my way is a totally different way than theirs is. But as I say all of that and saying thank you to all of you folks that took part in it, it was the biggest part is saying thank you to you as individual people that came along to be a part of the meeting. Lou and myself wondered sometimes if anybody's ever going to show up to hear what we're going to say. But in a way, what you said, you deal with the nickels and dimes, the dollars come too. So we had nickel and dime in it, and then we had dollars come when all the people showed up.
Good.
Well, as I said that, what's the highlights of this 2 weeks for you? I'd like each one of you to kind of think about that for a moment, in thinking about whether you attended every show or just some of them. What was a highlight for you? What did it come out, and what difference did it make in your carving or your possible thinking about carving? I'm going to jump on to Stan Adams first, because his internet might go off on him. Can you hear me, Stan?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I guess for me, I've only been at this for about 3 years. And so when I got into the whole
You want to watch this?
project of
Watch your
carving,
TV, I'll go in there.
I'm not sure if I'm working here or not.
You
but
okay that's going in?
when I got into it initially, it was all about
I did.
finding something that
won't get-
challenged my creative mind. I'm extremely right-brained. And as such, I'm not comfortable terribly in a linear world, but unfortunately or fortunately, I made my living in a linear world as an instructor, teaching relationship management and time management and structure and strategic planning. And I went off on tangents for many years, wrote a book, did a lot of work around research, around right brain thinking. And that's kind of where I finally, when I retired, said that's where I want to go. So when I got into carving, my dad was an amateur artist, extremely good one. And so I started off by carving anything that he had ever drawn that I could still find. One of them was that cow we talked about a while ago, Murray. And so I don't know if he was the original artist or he actually absconded with that idea at some point, but irrespective of that, it gave me an opening to try things. And what I did was I said, I'm going to try every single type of carving I can find. And I've been fairly good at doing that. I got into some caricatures. I'm not really fond of that necessarily because I'm so arthritic. and carving anything small is a challenge of a lifetime. I'd rather do something 8 foot tall with a chainsaw than doing something with a knife that is 2 inches tall or 4 inches tall. But I've done a lot of different stuff in 3 years. I've been rewarded with a lot of ribbons, and so I guess I now see myself as qualifying as a carver in some areas, not necessarily the best, but you know, I've been acknowledged, and so that feels good for me. This whole thing, to answer your question initially, was the caricature carving was particularly of interest to me. Number one, because of the fun aspect. I'm looking for anything that I can do to take a piece of wood and tell a story. And I do a lot of faces. I do a lot of found wood. I have got trees in forests that are carved. I do anything I can just to find some humor in it. I've got a big stump that's 300 pounds sitting on the road, and it gets a lot of notoriety. So in that sense, I figured that caricature carving could teach me a lot of things about finishing, about comedy, and those things I may apply and probably will apply to much larger carvings, as I already have. The little stuff, as I say, is too challenging for my hands. My dexterity is limited in about 15 to 20 minutes. And so, but give me a chainsaw and I can go for 4 days, you know, so I'm a power carver. And the fact that it provides humor for me and hopefully for the audience, I can use so many different experiences that I've picked up in the last number of days and carve literally any particular genre that I care to enter into. So in that sense, I hope that answers your question. I'm just looking to understand more about every type of carve.
That's great. Good words.
Good words.
I'm wondering, the next person, whoever would like to share on that part, the highlights for you this last 2 weeks. Jump in.
Murray, it's Ron. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you for sure. See you too.
I found the caricature carving video really helpful. The fact that they make clay molds first was good. The artwork from Lou was really good. So that I think was the highlight of my week here as a novice carver. I've done a couple of caricatures. I think I'd like to do more. I do a lot of study sticks with different faces, and I find that rewarding just because it's just a face and you don't have to worry about the body or the clothing or anything else. So the caricature stuff was really good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks very much for hosting this.
Great. Good. How about Ron Buckford?
Yeah. Again, I'm pretty, if I can use the word green in this art form myself. It's I'm still only been a couple years in it, and the characters were awesome. I mean, the just the intricate parts and the painting and everything was just, you know, unfortunately I just signed in on Wednesday, and I got, you know, Marlene sent me the link, and I came in today, and you know, it's really kind of a newfound thing for me, you know, and just the whole intricacy of you know, the characters, and you know, as I mentioned, I did my last class with Marlene. I did like a little face, and it was just a small little piece of wood, and just the intricacy to, you know, to get the eyes, the nose, and everything going, and it's quite interesting. And then, you know, to make you know, the one that I liked was is it Lou was the guy that did the characters. He had one that was really I like the what was the soldier, the cowboy, and the vicar.
Yeah, that was Mark Sheridan.
Oh, that that was pretty good. I really liked that one. That was really good. And the and then the hobo on the pump cart. You know, some of those were just you know, and how he just carves them in little pieces, and then what I find, that's what I found was really interesting. Like he carved them in separates, you know, and then glued them all together.
Mhm.
You know, it was really, and then it just all, you know, in order to do that and make it all work, and make it look the way he did, I thought was pretty amazing. That was, you know, that was pretty pretty interesting to me.
Now, the group that met last night, we didn't have it on the official schedule for the 2 weeks. They planned their second meeting for the True North caricature carvers. And we videotaped that also. And the link was just ready last night late. I didn't get it onto an email today, but the email going out tomorrow will have that link in it. And that's even more extensive on the caricature carving, especially when you look at John Paul doing the drawings. He has an amazing setup. I contacted him about giving me pictures of what he does. He has a frame up above on left and right that you don't see, with a bar across the top and a camera mounted in that.
Right.
And it shows right down what his hands are doing down below. Did
Oh
you
yeah.
see that? You didn't see that part, did you?
No, I didn't. No, I missed
That,
that.
you'll see that
I
in the
actually
next.
signed in late on Wednesday, so I missed part of the meeting.
Well, if you want to even see that tonight, you could take it and go on to any one of the videos will pop up, and they're on my channel, Murray Lincoln's channel on YouTube.
Okay.
And that video is up already. I just didn't send the link out yet.
Okay.
But they did an excellent job last night. He shows how he puts the, Mike Sullivan was putting clay on this armature. They call that wire form inside the armature.
Right.
And his clay had been in the garage all winter, and he was working on it for about 45 minutes before he started to talk. And it was still too hard. It was really, really hard. It's kind of a plasticine. It's more than just a wet clay. It's
Yeah.
remoldable thing. So Mike did a great job on that. So you'll see that if you take a look on those videos.
Oh,
All of them are listed under my name on YouTube.
actually, well, this afternoon, actually, I was on the your Ontario Carver website, and I was reading about joining up and what was involved, and you know, it looked like an interesting thing, and you know, it looks like there's a lot of good information and a lot of good people with good knowledge and stuff, and you know, it looks very helpful, and everybody seems, you know, good, friendly, and willing to help. So
yeah, it's only $40 a year.
Yeah,
you get 4 good magazines. I think the magazines are fantastic because I make them.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets $30 a year.
Yeah.
But it's been a real interesting time. I've been involved as a member of this group for about 3 years now, maybe a little bit more than that. Started first as a member, and then Mark Sheridan, when you get close to him, if you're at a show and he starts to talk to you, he'll recruit you to do something. And that's exactly what happened. He said, you need to be a member. He's looking at my table, all the carvings on it. And he said, have you ever joined? And I said, no, I have not. I thought about it, but it's just been too busy.
yeah.
So he says, only $40. You sold something here, didn't you? I said, yeah. I bought a membership into it. And then Mark doesn't stop at that. He said, you know, we're looking for people to do certain things in the Ontario Woodcarver Association. I said, what? He said, well, one of them is to edit the magazine. Our editor is now going to be turning it over to whoever will take it.
Oh, right.
And I said, oh, that's interesting, because back in my former life, at one stage, I was involved in a national program out of, like, I'm a minister retired from a church, and they tend to take you not only from the church, but into the head office. I ended up going from a church of about 100 to the next 3 congregations, more or less, that I worked with. One was 14,000, another was 40,000, and the other one was $250,000.
Right. Wow.
And so I edited and contributed to editing 3 different magazines there. So it was a piece of cake. I mean, this is all computer work. This is easy.
Yeah.
I used to be a computer. I'm a computer geek of sorts, and used to be a technician and all that type of thing, fixing these things. And so it all fit.
Yeah.
But You're not on the executive as an editor, but they invite you to come to the program, to their executive meetings.
Okay,
And
yeah,
they're talking about certain things. I said, well, what about this? What about that? You mean you're doing this? Well, what about this? And you ask too many questions. Mark had an issue with his health. He had to step away for a while, and I was nominated and voted in as president.
oh, just like that, eh?
Boom. So if any of you would like a job, I've got two really good jobs for you.
Yeah.
Editor or
Yep.
president.
No, no, I've done that too many times.
It's been a joy to be a part of it, and to meet the people that I have across Canada, even in Brooklyn, Ontario, which is kind of west of where we live in Peterborough. It's south of Lindsay a bit and north of Whitby.
Okay.
They have a great carving show there. And one of the carving shows that used to be down at Whitby is where they held it at Whitby Shores, but now it's up in the Brooklyn Library. And this one carver from the group there brought his friend that came for a visit. His friend was from Regina, Saskatchewan. And he saw the carvings. I didn't meet him at the show, but he was so excited. He wrote me a letter and an email after he got back home again and told what the show meant to him, and that their carvers in Regina now have got a growing group.
Good.
And it's really neat to hear about, because I live in Peterborough now. This is where my last working career thing was, and I retired here 13 years ago.
Right.
I had moved from Regina to Peterborough. And while in Regina, this is kind of the comedy on the side of it, but being a minister of a church, I'm up front on Sunday and I'm telling stories and giving illustrations. And I told people about having something other than just your life and work. And I illustrated by having carving as my life. One young guy came up about 35, 36 years old, and he said, I'd like to do carving. I've always wondered how. He said, would you teach me? I had a beautiful garage, a 2-car garage, 6 to 8 inch walls, all insulated, no windows, and a gas furnace inside, brand new, only 2 years old.
Hmm.
So Thursday night he came. I taught him how to carve.
Right.
He
Hey,
brought a friend, and that friend brought a friend. And the third person that joined brought his father-in-law. And you know, by the time we ended my 3 years there, we had 27 people coming to that garage.
Very nice.
And so the neat part of it was that their big joke, we had 2 rules about it. You don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion. Both those things are taboo. So
Yay.
funny thing for a minister to say that, but we had a great time not talking about those things. But he said they'd come, and my wife started off baking chocolate chip cookies and a pot of coffee. Well, it grew to an urn of coffee. And so one of the guys joked, he says, I know we don't talk about religion, but hey, we've got communion every Thursday night.
there you go.
Bread and wine, coffee and cookies. So it was a neat thing when this fellow came to Brooklyn from Regina, and I was writing back and forth to him. I asked, have you met Tim? And gave him his last name. He says, oh yeah, Tim is one of our top instructors. He teaches relief carving, and he's amazing what he does. We
Yeah.
can't believe what he does. Tim was that young fellow that I started.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
And when I sold the garage, the garage went with it. Tim went home and talked to his wife, and they built a brand new garage, and he has the carvies move there. Now they're in a much bigger facility, and it's growing like wildfire. And it's been a real neat thing to see. So I have pictures of Tim doing the carving and teaching. It's a joy. But in the last show that I was in Regina, I'd won a lot of ribbons, but I entered a really good piece. And Tim entered a really good piece, and he beat me, and I didn't get anything.
Oh, wow. Oh.
I
Well,
arrived as a top instructor then.
what they say,
Your students are better than you. You know that you've got a place in history.
Well,
it-
tell me,
isn't it
do
what-
ministers actually forgive their patrons behind?
You don't care because, like Lou said, they won't put anything in the basket.
Yeah, right. Stop
Not
doing
the
the
rule of-
basket thing.
That's an inside joke between 2 friends. Okay, I got off the topic on that one, but I know highlights for you. Anything else? Steve, did you have any chance to get to some of the sessions?
Well, I did see some of the sessions, and I did get to, I'm looking at all of the photographs of the submissions that were put in, because they, that makes it more like a show for me. Over the years, I've gone to lots of the competitions and the shows down in Pickering and up in Woodstock and Kitchener, Waterloo, and that. And I always enjoy looking at everybody else's carvings. I do a fair number of my own, but I always encourage the people that carve with me to get involved and put things in, because that's the only way these are going to keep going. If everybody sat at home and carved and we never saw what everybody else does, we wouldn't get the incentive to try things that are new and things like that. But I did sit in on a couple of the sessions. I did the first part of the caricature one. I had to leave early on a couple, and I do a bit of everything. So like I'll carve caricatures, I'll carve reliefs. I do a fair number of animals and things like that nowadays. And lots of, when I don't feel like carving something in too much detail, it's usually a piece that I'm whittling on. So, but I found it really interesting. And of course, people that you hear from all the time, everybody's doing something new. So that's what I get out of it anyway.
That's great. Thank you, Steve. No, I've got just look at some others here. Craig Severn, how about yourself? You've attended quite a few of the sessions that I know.
Yeah, you're right. It's Craig here. I'm interested in learning. I've been a self-taught kind of carver, so I've never had a lesson on anything. So I learned an awful lot, a little bit from each person on all the categories. And to me, that was very helpful. And I hope to do more. I'm working on more stuff. But yeah, I thought it was very entertaining. And also, I'm out there to learn things from other people and the way they do things. Everybody's a little bit different. I always thought you had to be an artist to be a carver, but I don't think so. From what I'm learning, even from Mark, he takes things from Pinterest and tries to make something out of it. Maybe change it a little bit, but yeah. So I feel better now. I feel more comfortable now that because I am not an artist. I have trouble. I have trouble seeing things in three-dimensional. But anyway, the seminars were good, I thought, all of them.
Great. Now,
Nice job, Marie.
great. One of the things that I was thinking of here, Craig, and you kind of brought it up when something you said, and Marlene was asking earlier if we could possibly have these kind of sessions once a month, and not a whole week long thing, but one evening or one day that, we would have a get together just to let's talk. And one of the thoughts was, I think it was either you that asked this question about the fact that Emma Perlacki had on the website carvings that people would send pictures in. Did you ask me that?
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, somebody else asked that question. And I thought about that a lot. The website as it is right now, it's difficult to upload and keep up with the magazines and some of the things that we have to do normally. But you know what could happen? One of the artist group that I was involved in one time, that I was fairly new to I was brand new to the community, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what the kind of arts people did. And I did drawings of different sorts. And so I joined this group to come once a month. And what they did at the thing is that you had to have something new done or in the progress of progressing towards being finished. And you had to bring it with you and show it to everybody. And what happened was then one of the artists would be the critique person. They would give the assessment of what they thought or ask questions about what you did. And it was a wild experience because some of these artists were just amazing. And so they started giving me suggestions or asking questions about my drawing and what I was doing. And then my turn came to stand in front of everybody and do that job. My goodness, you learn a lot, not only from showing, but from telling.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be something if we could then submit at a certain date everything we've been working on during that time, during that month, and we'll put it into a PowerPoint. And everybody could see it clearly then, not just by holding it up, but also by seeing an actual photograph of it. And you'll see that here a little later tonight. I've taken all of the 2x2x4 carvings and put them into a PowerPoint presentation. They look great, really look good. So that's an idea that comes out of one of the highlights for me. And your thoughts there, Craig, kind of spawned that idea. So you like to learn from everybody. That way you'd be able to see, almost like having a carving show somewhere in Ontario every month.
So it's kind of like a virtual show and tell is what you're
Yep.
saying then.
Yep.
Yeah, we have that on the website that we created for the group out of St. Lawrence Woodcarvers in Brockville. And unfortunately, many of our members have not taken advantage of it. And I think we need to refresh that, but it's a gorgeous opportunity, number one, to keep the website alive, and two, to keep all the members interested in seeing who's doing what else. And so that would be a real easy one to add to your website. It's just a show and tell section. And it could be a monthly thing that really reflects what everybody's doing at any given time. It's nice to show what you're creating, whether it's finished or not.
You see, and what we can do along this line is the website can be available to us after it happens, but as you do a PowerPoint, it shows clearly the pictures of the photographs of the carvings. But then at the end of that time of that month's meeting, I simply go back and push another button and makes it into a video. And then you mount the video for everybody to look at forever and ever.
That's good.
And then you put the link in the website, and from the website, you can go to the video.
Great idea.
There's all kinds of possibilities. I'm going to go to Robert next. If Robert, could you tell us a little bit the highlights for you from the ones you've attended this week and last week?
I like the pyrography. I was doing a little bit of pyrography, but I really enjoyed that caricature one. I have never done any. I've done a couple of heads, but I've never done the whole body. So I was on last night. Mark Sheridan gave us his email address. Was that Mark Sheridan?
It's Mark.Sheridan.
Oh, Mark.Sheridan.
Yeah, Mark.Sheridan at simpatico.ca.
Okay, thank you.
You'll see it in the video tomorrow. You'll have it listed on there. We had some fumbling to get the right words, so it'll come.
Okay, thank you. And to get this magazine, I guess I just have to join up with going to the Ontario Woodcarvers.
Yeah, so what has happened up to this time is that when a club is part of and registered as a club with the Ontario Woodcarver Association,
right,
they have a membership for the club, and everybody in that club is covered with the insurance policy that's offered with that membership. So when the club goes to a major setting to set up your show, and you've got your knives and your cords out and so on,
right,
they're protected with this insurance policy, but they get one magazine for a club. And for instance, in Ottawa, they have 160 members.
Yes.
The theory is that the president is supposed to read the magazine and pass it on to the next person. But in doing a little bit of scientific research on this, I find out that magazines are often left in somebody's reading pile in the bathroom.
Oh.
Maybe the third or fourth person that has received it. So knowing COVID and all the spraying on products, etc., that started to make me very aware of the microbiology classes I took back in university. And I don't know, I'm a little weird about things now.
Right. Yeah.
So what you simply can do is not only be a part of a club,
I am
also
part of
put
it.
your individual membership on the website. Go on there, put your information in. If you have a credit card, you simply register that way, and you're immediately put into the group.
Okay, I belong to the OWCA Woodcarvers from Ottawa.
Yeah. So just if you can do an individual membership, go on the website and take a look.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
great.
It's really worth it. I did it about a year and a half ago, and it's worth it.
Yeah.
Spend the $40.
Good.
Okay, great. Thank you, Robert. Marlene Ash, you're blank right now with no video on and no voice on. I hope you're still there. There she is.
I know, because I was finishing my glass of wine. I didn't want you to see.
Now there's a carving. See,
What
just
kind
that,
of knife did you
that
use?
alone produces a cartoon thought in my head that I could draw and then carve.
Yeah. And I'm carving at the same time. So
So what's a
There you
highlight
go.
for you out of this 2 weeks of get-togethers?
well, I've also been busy this 2 weeks, so I haven't attended everything, but I've tried to do some because I, of course, have been a member of the Ontario Woodcarvers for many, many years, and I really support it and support everyone. I think it's such a good thing,
Mhm.
and it's such a good hobby. And I've been retired a number of years, and it's been a social and rewarding thing to do, and friends I've made from here to from coast to coast through Ontario Woodcarvers. So it's really, really, I can't say enough about it. And a lot of people who work very hard within the Ontario Woodcarvers aren't appreciated. And I don't think any of them care about that, but I just threw that in because I like
Brownie points.
like, yeah, it people who volunteer do it out of the goodness of their heart, and it's really good to give. But always remember that there's many people working very hard behind the scenes.
There's two words that come to mind, what you said. One is connections and the other was engagement.
Yeah.
And COVID's robbed our carvers of those two words. It's made it difficult for us to see and have that happen, across the country. But wait until it's over, and then it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's I think that this Zoom is such a good connection. I mean, I'm sort of shut in here by myself and alone, and it's been such a good outlet for me because I've done a lot of things on Zoom and made connections with people, because I have a cat named Moses that I talk to, but that's about it. And
that's great. Those are great ideas.
I also paint, so I have my studio and I can do both. And I had a little lady up the street that came down, and I did some, a little session with her because we were both safe as not going out and seeing other people. But I just can't wait to get out and see other people.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
People are good. People are good. And everything that you've done, I really appreciate. And it's been a really good session. And can't wait to get back to doing the real shows.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun selling 50-50 draw tickets. And I want to tell you, like, I see my lineup along the top here, all these gentlemen. And I used to sell the 50-50 draw tickets, and I would sell them an arm's length. And if they wished, I would sell them a leg's length. But then I told them it was my leg. They were hoping I would measure theirs. So. There's always, you have to put a bit of humor in everything.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So thank you, Murray.
Thank you, Marlene. We're going to ask Julie now to come on and talk to us. I see your name up at the top. Unmute and make the photo happen. The video.
You see me? Yep.
We can see you. Yes. Great to have you again.
No, so I do want to concur with what everybody had said. It is really very eye-opening for me, a relatively new person, and I want to thank everyone. It is so eye-opening for me. I came in not knowing what I can get. And I've mentioned before that I'm quite new in this thing, and I was also self-taught. So I finally found a group, but then not long after, everything happened. So I wasn't able to go. So being able to see things from and hear from people who are so willing to share and telling us step by step what is to be done. So I never had the opportunity of learning step by step. So on the one hand, of course, I want to try different things, all the nice things that other people have done, but I think I would be doing it slowly. So far, everything that I've done, they are flat. So so I would continue and gradually see and learn more before I move into those very interesting things. I attended half, I think, yesterday's session when it was Mark and the others who were doing the sessions very systematically. It really helps. So slowly, it's fun.
Okay, Julia, just before you go away, I have something here to ask you. It's kind of a personal question. As you were on the screen and your name came up, one of the older gentlemen, Forrest Grierson,
He was from my
he
group.
saw you and he said he was so excited. He said, Julie was a student in one of our schools that we started our wood carving classes in. Is that true?
It was the community center, so I did not attend any class, but I started carving accidentally. My father, my father, way back in Hong Kong, he passed away already, but way back before we were born, he did wood engraving. It's wood block printing. So we never saw his work. He never did anything like that after we were born. So none of us knew what to do. So after he passed away, my sister came over and brought his carving tools over because nobody else have inherited anything or learned anything. So I said I would just take anything. And so I took it and I found a few pieces of wood and started carving by myself. But then it was really hard for me to do things by myself. So I spent, I think, many months trying to find a group. Nobody else wants to take me. I found, even when I went to this seniors community center, I think because my hair doesn't look white, they thought that I don't fall into that group. And they also told me that it is not for teaching. But eventually, they knew that I qualified in name as a senior. So that's where I also saw Forrest's name on one session, but I don't have his email. So we haven't been able to see or work together for quite a while. So that was a group that helped me at least know how to get over the initial hurdles of sharpening my things. So, but it's fun and it's something that I do treasure. Even when I joined that group at that time, I was working, and even now I'm working. So it has been very hard for me to juggle all my time in order to go there. But because I really like this thing, this form of art or this skill, so I juggled my time in order to go. So I treasure this opportunity.
That's great. It's wonderful. We're so glad you're part of us. We're going to be looking for a wood carving partner or partnership for Julie within Toronto area for her to be able to get to it and connect with some other carvers. I know there's some there, but we just have to find them. So that's still on my bucket list.
Yeah. Once things are opening up, then I think the Scarborough group would still try to get back. But for me, I will have to drive. Actually, I have to spend 1 hour driving there every time. Yeah. So good connection, and with a Zoom and these type of connections, we are not limited by the physical location.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
What location is Julie? What are you, Julie?
I am Toronto High Park. Toronto.
In High Park area.
High Park, okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's towards the
too big
west.
a distance from me. Like we're in Aurora, which is quite a distance north.
Yeah, I initially I tried to find something, and I think I found something in on the west side of Toronto. I went there once, and they sent me away because I don't carve birds.
Oh,
I think I might know someone. I might be able to make a connection for you. So I will work through Murray, Julia, and maybe I can find something for you, because I know a lady who likes to carve, and she was a doctor at Toronto General, and
Oh,
it's hard to come up here, but I mean, she's down in the city, so she might have some, connections for you.
oh, that
And
would be
if I can do that, I will do that for you.
no, that's good. This group and all these connections are great. Yeah.
Yes, yes. She used to be a secretary for the Ontario Wood Carvers, so, and she's suffering, looking for, people to carve with in groups. So I will let you know.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
Is that one any better?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
No, it's still going to do the blurry thing. Okay. I'm going to go to none, and this will be better. There's the background. There's a dog sitting on the end of the branch. This is a piece of decorative kind of a plum tree in my daughter's front yard. And I'm able to hold it, like if you've seen some of the folks saying you have to hold it and then you carve here, but I will take a bandsaw cut on each side to remove most of the material, do the cuts down the side, and I see my dog in the middle. I'll plan that down. This little fellow's got a big tummy. He's an older man, standing with his hands in his pocket and a coveralls on. It's not the clearest right now to see, but as you see it, it'll come up a little bit closer. Maybe it goes out of focus, but I'm going to put some more here in front of me. They're smaller branches,
wow.
smaller yet. And I think this is probably the smallest one. This is a little guy standing at a bit of an angle. He's got his cane. And I think this is the smallest one that I've carved out of the bunch of them now. But it's a real little guy on the end of a branch. And I glued the branch onto this piece of wood there. Now, this is a fun one, and it's something, if you'll remember some of the stories that come out of it when Mark Sheridan's talking, an idea comes from somebody says something. Well, in this particular carving, there are 3 men here and here, all with canes. And the 4th senior is on the front of it. He's maybe a little bit hard to see there, but I put this paper behind it. And what they did is they found a skateboard and he took off on it. So it's 4 old men and a skateboard is what I named that one. And there's different sizes here with the different sizes of sticks. There is these from the top there, but if I lay them this way, you can see relatively different sizes of the stick. And so learning from a fellow from Germany that I met in Los Angeles, California, Helmut was his first name. And he was just an amazing carver. He carved these on the end of a branches, just like these. And this one here, you see there's a man with a boy. Both of them have canes. This little guy here has a top hat, or he has his hat in his hand, a pot belly, and he's got sort of I'm sure you won't see that, but I'll get pictures of it later. He's got a tails, kind of a tuxedo on, standing there. Now there's lots more to see than that. So as I picked them up, I won't go over all of them individually, but I kind of went a little nuts. And every time I see a branch now, the branch has got some little person in it. And they just keep coming out of it. It's almost as if the branch talks to me. That's a little weird, but there's some of them. I think altogether there's about 30 of them. And I showed this one actually in the one video that we did. This is a piece of mulberry tree. It grows in our backyard. And in order to keep it from cracking, I drilled holes in the bottom to get the moisture to come out quick, because I was doing it in a green wood. It was not dried out at all. And what happened when I did the green wood and when it started to dry, the center of the heartwood of that particular mulberry branch turned brown. And you'll see there, maybe you'll see that, but you can see there that there's on the side of that, just let me get rid of this picture here.
Streak of brown.
In the brown, both canes are brown.
Yep, that's good.
So what now, from now on, I try to look for a branch that might have a piece of heartwood that looks like this. So there's many different kinds. Then there's a man on a quite of a long piece with his dog. And there he is there. You can see that from the hardest parts to try to show it the right way. Much easier to do a different video. So what I've done here is the joy of launching out from caricature carving into much smaller things. I don't think I'm going to continue a long time, but there's quite an interest, having been in the business of selling for about 13 years now. People want to know, how much are they? And so there, at the first show of 2020, I was going to have them there to start kind of testing the market. 2020 didn't happen, so it may be 2021 before it happens, but it is something. I'm looking for something new. When I'm at the table with all of my carvings on it, and there are some things that are for sale that will go quicker, I hope to have the people drop by the table. And when they see these little carvings, they come. It draws them, and they want to see what it is. Now, Julie, if you remember all of the fancy stores in Hong Kong along Nathan Road down in Jim Saw Joy area,
And Mongkok.
yeah, they had stores that were absolutely filled with netsuki, the things from Japan made out of the ivory. Were originally made in the 1700s for a button on a kimono, but now they're a collector's item. And some of those little carvings now from Japan sell for 17,000 to 25,000 per carving. They're an amazing piece. And now they're carving because it's illegal really to have ivory and carve, but they use the tagwood nut, which is like a vegetable kind of ivory. And so this is all part of what we do, and different things I wear. So what I've done simply in this carving this week is to try to show you different things from different people. And as a result of that, I hope it's inspired you. Now, Lou, you've done some great things in your work. Show us something else tonight, your highlight for the week.
My golden retriever.
Oh.
And I think that dog's name is Abby.
That's Abby. That's the picture you saw. And that was the first attempt. My Abby girl.
She went everywhere with Lou, but now she's gone to heaven.
Yes, she is. She's waiting for me. I have her ashes here. And we're getting buried. We're in a church, and we have a niche, and there's room for Rosemary and I and Abby's ashes, and I have her paw print also.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lou, for that. I hope you were inspired by things that happened this week too, and last week.
Yes, I like carving. One of the gentlemen that came on tonight, he said he likes to have a story with it. And that's what I do. I always have a story why I did that carving.
Yes.
You noticed that, Emery?
Yeah, right. Well, just a moment. I'm going to pull away from the screen right now, and I have to get my helper. Hang on.
I'm sorry.
I say, I just finished a horse. I
Oh,
don't know.
did you?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. Very nice. Good.
Now, I have beside me, come on a little bit closer so you show up on the screen here. This gal's name is called Alida, A-L-I-D-A. We dated for 5 years the old way without living together. And then we got married, and that was 54 years ago, right?
Pretty close.
Pretty close, coming up in the fall. And a big part of it, the part for me that's so exciting, every time we go to a carving show, you'll meet Alida because she's behind the table when I'm off talking to people and taking pictures. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate her. It's been a long time we've been dating, and isolation has proved to be okay because she has a room to go to and I have a garage to go to, my shop. You can still say that we're okay.
Well, what happens for me, Murray, is that if I get out of hand, Rosemary sends me to my room and I say, make sure it's at 2 o'clock so I can have a nap.
Now, what would I promise in the 2x2x4 carvings? I'm going to show you, we'll do a share screen here real quick and start from the beginning. And so this is our,
Oh, I like that.
the entries that came our way. Alec Pritchard did this one. It's kind of a neat carving in that, let's do a reduction here on the size of this window. Notice the seed, Alec Pritchard, 2021 on the left-hand side. And the seed is very special. Farm Life. It's Mary Jane Seed Company. Now you have to be a certain age to understand that Mary Jane is marijuana, right? Got that? Next one's Craig. And Craig, if you watching right now, could you give us a little bit of a rundown on this carving?
There isn't much of a rundown. I had to take a tree down that was going to fall down anyway. So I found out it was cottonwood, and I remember I was asking some people about it one of the sessions, and I took a branch and just carved a Santa out of it. But unfortunately, Rudolph kicked a couple of his teeth out, so he's missing a few, as you can see. But the bark is still on it, and it's just something fast that I could do.
Great.
I like it.
We'll have to use this mouse to do this here somewhere in the corner, I think. The next one's Eric. I don't think Eric's on tonight, but this is one of the carvings he submitted, was on a really nice base. And he's got some super big shoes. The exaggeration is all part of what our caricature carving is about. And it's really neat, that part. Eric's not on tonight, I don't think. The next one is Joe Nauer. Joe, are you on now to see your product here? Maybe looking in on us, but this is a coffee spoon he described for dipping into the coffee, putting the grounds into the filter, and a measuring spoon. You can see the size of it there with the biography on it, and it's also the color added. John Sophis lives here in Peterborough. He carved at least a koala. That's a cute little guy.
Yeah, it's cute.
And Lloyd Thomas did a troll and a leprechaun. Now, for Lloyd, he's a major carver of totem poles. And I think that he's probably experimented for one of these on a totem pole. Just really short, 4 inches. Lou, tell us a little bit what's this one?
Tell us what?
Tell us a little bit about this character, this creature.
Oh, this is my St. Patrick's Day bird. And when you cut out the pattern, you're left with extra wood. So you have that when you draw your pattern on your 2x2x4, you cut the top view, and then you turn your block and you hold on to everything, and then you cut your side view, and then what falls apart are all these parts. And these little birds right here, what I do with those, if there's room at the bottom, I drill a hole, I put a skewer, and then I use that for plant birds. If there's not enough room, then I'll drill a little hole in the middle, and then you can hang it up on your Christmas tree. The corner views of that bird that was cut out, you put those two together and it does a silhouette of the bird.
Mhm.
And the two top parts, when you look at them, they look like penguins. But what I do with these is I make a sunburst. When I have enough of, I need 26 of them, and then I do a round circle, and I have a poem with it, and it's called Sunburst. And this is what I do from that block of wood. That's how much I use all the wood.
That's great, Lou. Thank you.
Okay.
And Mike Sutherland's not here tonight, but this is what he calls as a poor man's mahogany.
Oh, cottonwood.
It's a cottonwood bark, and he's carved it. He tried to leave a little bit of the bark on it to be seen, but when you polish it up with the wax on it and that, it makes a great otter. And
Yes.
utter care from the otter. I like that.
I like that.
And half the thing of what we do as carvers is giving a name. The name is a big part of what the carving does for people. Now, Richard provided a goldfinch, which is a really neat little bird.
Yeah.
And also, this was a special one I thought I would really mention it here. He carved this for his first grandchild, Thomas, for Christmas 2020, which means that Grandpa and Grandma couldn't get together with him. But this is a little decoration that goes onto the tree to remember his first Christmas.
Very nice.
It's a beautiful piece.
I love it.
So this one, Robert Thompson carved, a Newfoundland fisherman and a Manitoba cowboy. It's quite a contrast in characters.
Yeah, it is.
And as Robert puts these together, he didn't give us much explanation except for the naming of it, but I do appreciate the entrance.
Thank you.
Ron, maybe I should go back and just ask you more about that, Robert, if you could tell us more about it.
Well, about 3 years ago, I'm from Manitoba myself, and I went from Manitoba, and then we went to Newfoundland in the same year. So I got two carvings.
A lot of things happened. Now, this was Ron McKenzie. Are you on today with us?
I am.
Tell us more about this creature up here in the middle.
Well, the white one is the prelude to the painting project. On the left-hand side is my grandson, who specifically requested me to carve a Pokemon. And he even selected which one I was to carve. And then when I had it carved as into the white area, most of these images, it's a sand shrew, are yellow, as you can see in the lower section.
Here.
But he didn't want the yellow. He said, no, I don't want yellow. I want blue and brown. So I want you to paint that. He knows what he wants, and he lets you know that that's the way it's going to be. So that's the way it ended up.
Very nice.
So the bottom right-hand side looks like there's some cards or something there.
The Pokemon program is a multitude of cards. A Pokemon is a fictitious character that a person is supposed to capture and train. And each Pokemon card has the Pokemon's abilities and powers. And the game is played with a number of people vying or laying down cards. And if you lay down a card with a Pokemon that has a power of 200 and someone else lays down a card with a power of 400, well, the 200 loses and the 400 wins. So it's a strategy game of cards, and yeah, he's right into this Pokemon stuff.
So I take it that the 6-year-old taught you something.
He did, definitely.
Well, that's really neat. It's a great picture for the magazine. They're going to be in there coming up. Now, the next one we've had is Stan. I think this is our last one. Stan, are you still on together with us? His internet's been going off, so it's a work in progress. And I think Stan told us that they have a new dog. His wife took it for a walk, and the dog kind of pushed or pulled, and she fell down and broke her pelvis.
Oh dear.
And so Stan's been nursemaid to her, and it's been quite a journey for them as a family. Now we're going to come out of this right now and stop the share and come back to this screen here. And what I'm going to do right now is onto a speaker view. So you can see me here. Now what I've got here is a very special bowl. You can see my glass bowl with all of the entries in it. And maybe you can't see because I got that cotton picking background on. Here, just we'll take that off. It's great, Zoom's great, but it's got other problems. So there's my bowl full of entries. And tonight we're going to have Mrs. Lincoln, the First Lady of the Ontario Woodcarver Association, because I'm president. We live in a White House too, so it's all part of the game. So you want to hold this up a little like this?
Sure.
And we're going to draw for, not just for one, but I want to give 3 carvings away tonight. And this is the number 1 one. I'm going to try to show you this way. It's 2 men, pot belly, with a cane in his hand. No, I'm just going to do it apart. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Good.
draw me a name out of here.
I guess you better stir it up, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, there's one.
Okay, Mike Southern is going to get that first one. He's not here tonight, but I will be in touch with him about that. Now, number 2. This is another old fella. This is an old fella that you can see. He's walking with 2 walking sticks. Now, Mark suggested I put skis on him so he could look like a cross-country skier. Against a small one done on the mulberry.
I like mulberry.
Okay, Richard Harris, are you there tonight? Well, it's unfortunate. I'm going to give these away to guys that are not here. Okay, number 3, of course, you see first prize is bigger, second is smaller. Number 3 is this big.
Oh, wow.
And he's sitting with a little dog in front of him. The dog's watching for everything he's going to do.
Ready?
Yeah, ready to go.
Oops, got 2 tangled up here. There you go.
Robert Thompson.
Thank you.
It's probably the smallest gift you're ever going to get from anybody.
Yeah, I appreciate it though.
And one thing that I found is that when I do the retailing, I'm selling at my table. It's my company's called Misty Hollow Carving. And we do a lot of shows, probably during the regular years, almost every second weekend somewhere. And when you meet the baby boomers and people our age, and somewhere in the late 60s, early 70s, and so on, you know, they don't have a lot of need for a lot of things. Their shelves are full already. Their houses are full of things. There's no need. But they'll always find room for a little tiny carving.
Yep.
So Robert, that's going to be going to your house.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your involvement. And thank you, Alita, for helping me.
Congratulations.
Hey,
Okay, great. Well, it's a joy tonight to do this kind of a fun thing, and you've given me some great input. I really appreciate that part. So we'll be looking at the future and what happens. I want to give one last appeal that should you like to do something along the lines of helping me in the work of the magazine, either by writing something or being kind of a roving reporter to take the stories from somewhere, put them together and bring it to us. We have a tremendous copy editor that when we get it written and put together and do all of our mistakes into the typing, she was a teacher and she's just amazing. She does a great job of that area. So we appreciate that so much. And if you could like to help us with the webpage or something in the area of the electronics, maybe doing a PowerPoint for us for once a month in our presentations, that's something that I'm looking for right now because that is starting to develop more all the time. So there might be something that we'll throw the net out there to see if I can catch some fish. And I'll do that fishing a lot. So I'll try to get you involved and it would be a great opportunity. So thank you so much again tonight for being a part of the Ontario Woodcarver Association first virtual woodcarving show. Have a great week. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow too.